The term folio, from the Latin folium, has three interconnected but distinct meanings in the world of books and printing. It is firstly a term for a common method of arranging sheets of paper into book form, folding the sheet only once, and a term for a book made in this way. Secondly, it is a general term for a sheet, leaf, or page in manuscripts and old books, and thirdly, an approximate term for the size of a book, and for a book of this size. Firstly, a folio is a book or pamphlet made up of one or more full sheets of paper, on each of which 4 pages of text are printed, 2 on each side. Each sheet is then folded once to produce 2 leaves. Each leaf of a folio book thus is 1/2 the size of the original sheet. Ordinarily, additional printed folio sheets would be inserted inside one another to form a group or gathering of leaves prior to binding the book. Secondly, folio is used in terms of page numbering for some books and most manuscripts that are bound but without page numbers as an equivalent of page, sheet, or leaf, using recto and verso to designate the first and second sides, and disregarding whether the leaf concerned is actually physically still joined with another leaf. This usually appears abbreviated. F26R means the first side of the 26th leaf in a book. This will be on the right-hand side of the opening of any book composed in a script that is read from left to right, such as Latin, Cyrillic, or Greek, and will be opposite for books composed in a script that is read from right to left, such as Hebrew and Arabic. Thirdly, folio is also used as an approximate term for a size of book, typically about 15 inches tall, and as such does not necessarily indicate the actual printing format of the books, which may even be unknown, as is the case for many modern books. Other common book formats are quarto and octavo, which are both also printing formats involving 2 and 3 folds in the sheet respectively. Famous folios include the Gutenberg Bible, printed in about 1455, and the first folio collected edition of Shakespeare's plays, printed in 1623. However, their actual size is rather different. Format. A folio is a book or pamphlet made up of one or more full sheets of paper, on each sheet of which 4 pages of text are printed, 2 on each side. Each sheet is then folded one time to produce 2 leaves. Each leaf of a folio book thus is 1/2 the size of the original sheet. This contrasts with a quarto, folding each sheet twice, and octavo, folding each sheet 3 times. Unlike the folio, these last, and further types involving more folds, require the pages of the book to be cut open after binding, which might be done mechanically by the printer, but in historic books was often left for the reader to do with a paper knife. There are variations in how folios are produced. For example, bibliographers call a book printed as a folio, but bound in gatherings of 8 leaves each, a folio in 8s. The Gutenberg Bible was printed in about 1455 as a folio, in which 4 pages of text were printed on each sheet of paper, which were then folded once. The page size is 12 by 17.5 inches, a double folio size. Several such folded conjugate pairs of leaves were inserted inside one another to produce the sections or gatherings, which were then sewn together to form the final book. Shakespeare's first folio edition is printed as a folio and has a page height of 12.5 inches, making it a rather small folio size. Folios were a common format of books printed in the incunabula period, although the earliest printed book, surviving only as a fragment of a leaf, is a quarto. The British Library Incunabula Short Title Catalogue currently lists about 28,100 different editions of surviving books, pamphlets and broadsides printed before 1501, of which about 8,600 are folios, representing just over 30% of all works in the catalogue. Page numbering. In the discussion discussion of manuscripts, a folio means a leaf with 2 pages, the recto being the first the reader encounters, and the verso the second. In Western books, which are read by turning the pages over from right to left, when the book is begun with the open page edges at the reader's right, the first page to be seen is folio 1 recto, typically abbreviated to F1R. When this page is turned over, F1V is on the left and F2R on the right of the opening or 2 pages that are visible. For books in Arabic, Hebrew, Japanese and other languages, where the book is begun from the back in Western terms, with the open page edges at the reader's left, the numbering also follows the sequence in which the reader encounters. In the discussion of 2-columned manuscripts, A, B, C, D can denote the left and right-hand columns of recto and verso pages. In the discussion of 3-columned manuscripts, notation may make use of folio number plus recto, verso plus column A, B, C. Size. The actual size of a folio book depends on the size of the full sheet of paper on which it was printed, and in older periods these were not standardized, so the term's meaning is only approximate. Historically, printers used a range of names such as double elephant folio, atlas folio, elephant folio, royal folio, medium folio, and crown folio. For the mid-19th century, technology permitted the manufacture of large sheets or rolls of paper on which books were printed, many text pages at a time. As a result, it may be impossible to determine the actual format. The term folio as applied to such books may refer simply to the size, i.e., books that are approximately 15 inches tall. Shakespeare folios. For the earliest days of printing, folios were often used for expensive, prestigious volumes. In the 17th century, plays of the English Renaissance theatre were printed as collected editions in folio. 36 of Shakespeare's plays, for example, were included in the first folio collected edition of 1623, which was followed by additional folio editions, referred to as the second folio, etc. Other playwrights in this period also published the plays in folio editions, such as Ben Jonson's collected works of 1616. See further. English Renaissance theatre. Early texts of Shakespeare's works. False folio.